he was saying that like it was like it's like 1,000 hands giving him a hand job or something at like the same time when I use my pussy on him. And I love being able to do that. It feels like a secret weapon, and I can see it in him too, where we'll be having sex and then I'll be like flexing my pussy or like squeezing different sections and whatnot. And I can see it in his face and in his noises and like everything. It just drives him crazy.
Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. All women can shoot ping pong balls with their vaginas. It's the Anami guarantee. All women can give vaginal handjobs. All women can have vaginal orgasms, G-spot, cervical, and ejaculate that shoots across the room. All women can have voraciously high libidos and be wet and salacious at every age and stage of their lives. All women can have blissful periods and menopause. The normal, healthy baseline for all vaginas is to be able to shoot ping pong balls. This is not just the domain of some special vaginas. All women can do this, and it's a reflection of healthy vaginal strength and articulation. However, the norm these days is for women to pee their pants, suffer from an abject terror of trampolines, to have their internal organs fall out or be cut out, and to think that having a low libido, torturous periods and menopause, painful sex, and no orgasms, or only paltry clitoral ones, is normal. Well, they've obviously never been to Anami Land, the land down under, where women glow and orgasm like thunder. In today's Well-Fucked All-Star interview with Mara, we talk about her vaginal power journey and how she went from being disconnected to gushing wet, squirting her way through 4 towels on the bed, shooting ping pong balls, wanting sex every day and tiring out her man, falling in love with her vagina, giving her partner vaginal handjobs that feel like 1,000 hands. Well-Fucked All-Stars! All right, welcome back, Mara. It's so lovely to see you.
You too, Kim.
So you have been on the podcast before, and we've talked about your incredible sexual and vaginal adventures. Are there any updates and new special skills that you have since acquired?
Yeah, I would love to. All the way back from the beginning, it's, I grew up like most women do, and I know especially most women who grow up in the US, which is not really being encouraged to have and or identify with our sexuality in a healthy and positive way. But I'm really grateful that at least in my life, it has changed. And most of that started from your work, which I came across a handful of years ago, probably 3 to 4, oh gosh, no more. Yeah, at least 4 years ago, now when I came across your work and your podcast, and it immediately clicked with me, like the idea that sex should be this amazing, super high vibration, elevating experience that isn't just about the physical, also that's about discovering parts of yourself and becoming a different and better version of yourself, in addition to being like one of the most physically pleasurable and expansive things that you can experience. Um, and that's, what I found it to be from first just hearing your podcast and watching your videos, and then last year taking VKF a year ago, and then my partner and I taking Coming Together also last year, and really diving into it all to the point where our sexual relationship, my sexual relationship with myself, and also my intimate relationship with my partner is what, like, top three most important things in my life. And he knows and I know that it is like a barometer for how the rest of our relationship is going to go when we're having like amazing, fulfilling sexual connection. Everything else in our life magically goes better. Like we're happier, we are more fit, we eat better, we fight less, our life is just improving.
Tell us about your relationship with your vagina. Where did you start with that? You mentioned before being disconnected, but would love to hear you
Mhm.
expand on that and then into where you are now and what were the tools along the way that were most helpful for you to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up disconnected from my vagina, which I think is normal. I think almost 100% of women can say that because we're simply not encouraged and simply not taught, and we're discouraged from being empowered in ourselves, empowered in our sexuality, open about any of that. Um, so I grew up really disconnected from it at all, and I like never even touched the inside of my own vagina for my own pleasure until I was probably like 22. And that blows my mind now because it's our own body. And how could we have such a large part of our own body, an important part of our own body, that we have no idea about, that we've never explored, we've literally never touched, and we just have no clue even really what it does. It blows my mind that that is possible and common, and especially for women. And I contrast that to men who I feel are often encouraged to explore their bodies and encouraged to like touch themselves and all of that. And I don't think you would meet a 16-year-old man that didn't feel like he knew the ins and outs of his own genitalia. Like,
It's really interesting that because I don't know that I've ever seen the messaging of encouragement for boys to touch
mhm,
themselves, but never discouragement. Almost like
yeah,
it's expected, right? Because
it's
men and
okay.
boys
Don't
are
talk about it, but it's okay.
right. They're more sexual
Yeah.
than women. It's kind of the
Hmm.
norm, even if it's implied, because I don't ever remember, that ever being said outright in any way.
Yeah.
But even through maybe it's like the media and TV shows and stuff and movies where you just get that messaging, right? Because where
Hmm.
else are we getting it? And that, but the opposite is for women, where you have to coerce women into sex. They don't, you almost have to trick them, right? Like I think about a lot of
Hmm.
these teenage or college age movies where you have to like really coerce women. Like you have to try
Hmm.
so hard because they don't really like it, or I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely different messaging, but I don't know that it's ever encouraged for anybody. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
that's the
No,
way
that is a
men
good point.
are. And
Yeah.
women are just different. They're not really that into it. You have to kind of like trick
Hmm.
them into being into it.
Right. Which is the whole idea too, that we're always taught that women have a lower sex drive than men,
Yeah,
which is completely false in my opinion. And
mine
I
too.
I think that like I think that our sex drives fluctuate naturally because that, we're different day to day. And there are many days where I feel like, or many weeks where I feel like my sex drive is higher than my partner's. And I feel like, yeah, it's just completely false. The idea that women always have a lower sex drive than men. And I find it to be false in my life, and even opposite in my life, where I will be demanding sex from my partner. Now, this isn't, not back then, but now after working on all of this, where I'll be demanding sex from my partner, and he's almost like, whoa, like this is a lot.
Let
Like,
me
okay,
catch
like
my
every
breath.
day, okay. And I'm like, yes, every day. And um, yeah, but anyway, back to how things have changed. I feel like so coming from a place of really not being connected to my vagina at all, not feeling even like I should be, not really having any motivation to connect to her because why would I want to do that? Just been taught my whole life that she's there and that's fine, but my job is to have sex with a man. It's not to get to know myself better or my vagina better. Um, and then coming into your work, which is completely opposite. It's all about knowing yourself. It's about connecting with yourself first before you even are connecting with someone else because you should know yourself best. Um, and that was a complete 180 for me. Um, and we listened to your podcast and watched your videos and everything for a long time. And then finally, um, last year I was like, okay, I need to pull the trigger and actually take one of her courses, which is what led me to sign up for VKF, which to me was like a big act of self-love, of like a gift to myself, of putting myself in the position where I'm actually going to be diving into the work, actually going to be doing this, and am committed to it, um, instead of just, picking things up here and there, actually being in the course, actually being on a timeline. And that was huge for me. And so much changed. I feel like that really springboarded me into the place where I am today, which is like I said, sex is a cornerstone of my life. It's incredibly important in my relationship, and it's amazing. Like, we have incredibly fulfilling sex. Our sexual connection is like one of the things that brings us closest. And I feel like it generates so much intimacy and so much connection and closeness beyond sexuality in our relationship. It makes us a better couple, it makes us better people. And um, I feel like that now was made possible because of really diving in and doing the work. Um, some of the stuff that was my favorite and I feel like really helped me the most from VKF were the yoni massage and yoni egg work, because that was completely new for me. Being a person who didn't put anything inside their vagina for their own pleasure, to developing a relationship where I could like touch myself intimately and have the egg inside of my vagina and have that feel amazing, in addition to having my fingers inside of my vagina and have that feel amazing, was completely different. It was something I had genuinely never done before. And I just feel like all of that has astronomically amplified everything and just jumped so much forward. Where now, going from having a mostly numb vagina, wasn't super pleasurable, I was having sex for a man, to now where I feel like incredibly sensitized. I feel like I feel everything. And the, gosh, I'm trying to think of a way to compare it, but because it feels incomparable. The basically no pleasure that I would receive from like a cock being inside of me 3 years ago, to now, like, my partner's cock being inside of me is like one of the most pleasurable things I've ever experienced in my life. And how do you get from A to B? And I think
Do
it's
tell,
from,
how do you?
yeah, from doing that work, and from like, oh, first even opening the door of like, oh wow, there's a world of possibility here, which I think is what you opened my eyes to first, and why I was so drawn to your work, because that's what you say. You say, like, every woman can, is your quote. You are always saying that.
My
So
guarantee,
opening that
the
door,
Anami
right?
guarantee, everyone can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So opening that concept in my mind of of there is possibility, and then developing the relationship with my vagina through the yoni massage, through the yoni eggs, through the like meditations and all there's so much that you pack into the course, and some of it is inherently sexual and some of it is not inherently sexual, but I think it all combines together so nicely because it's all developing that relationship with yourself where then you can build a relationship with your vagina and yourself, which compounds um, to get to a place where then like I love sex in a different way than I ever did before, and a better way, a deeper way. And I truly adore my partner, which I didn't feel that way a year and a half ago. I loved him, but now I like truly adore him and am so sexually attracted to him. And I feel like that has increased so much over time, over the past year, since we've kind of taken these tools that you teach and continued them on with doing, he does them like massage on me and being more mindful of my pleasure and my vagina when we're having sex. It's a completely different experience.
I wanted to share intimacy with men, but that was really the extent of it, to now where I'm like, no, this is like food. Like it's like air and food. Like it's something like you eat, you breathe, and you fuck. And that can be this nourishing, amazing thing in your life. And it should be that, has been just the biggest gap for me and an amazing transformation. Then some of the specific changes that have come about for me are like, first of all, my cervix being a source of pleasure, like the best feeling that I can have. And when I'm constantly asking for my partners, I'm like, go deep. I'm like, go deep inside of me. Like, it's just, I use language now that I never used before. Like I ask him to fuck me deep. I ask him to rail me, like all these things that I have never, like before those things scared me. Before I was like, please do not fuck me deep. Please do not rail me. Like that is going to hurt. And now I'm like, yeah, like I like need to get railed tonight, which is so funny to me, but it's also amazing because I'm like, that now feels good. Like when my partner's making me scream the most is when his cock is deep inside of me and I'm fully open and just gushing. When my pussy is wet, she just gushes and gushes. And it's amazing. It's her, it's her saying yes. And that I don't need vibration. I don't need these toys. I don't need these crutches. I want a cock deep inside of me. I want something inside of my vagina always. Like the pinnacle of pleasure for me before was probably like a man licking my clitoris. That was probably the like most pleasurable thing I could have experienced. It also feels amazing to be able to receive, to be an open receptacle in that way, that it doesn't feel like I need to coax myself to be open. Like I am. And if I'm not, that means something's wrong. If I'm not, that means there's some stuck energy or something that needs to be talked about or something that needs to be worked through. Because if there's nothing stuck, I am open. That's how it is. Like I'm ready to receive him. I'm ready to receive the universe. Like, yeah.
Love it. So tell me about your squirting experiences.
Yeah, so I love this. I did VKF at the very beginning of this year, I guess in the winter. And I, prior to that, had squirted one time in my life. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. And I was using a vibrator, haha. And I squirted totally accidentally. It like scared me. I was like, what's happening? It did not feel pleasurable. And I didn't know how it happened. I wasn't trying to make it happen. And it never happened again. And then magically, I am doing vaginal kung fu, your course, and like getting into the practices. I think it was on like the second week. And magically, I'm doing the homework, and all of a sudden, I squirt and it feels good. And I was like, whoa. And of course, it was when my hands were inside my vagina, which, as I said, I had never done that before, which to me is mind blowing that I had never in my life put my own fingers inside of my own vagina for my own pleasure. Like, to me, that is so mind blowing. Like, why would I not have done that? And how unfortunate. When I started actually touching the inside of my pussy and getting to know her and, like helping her also open, she was so ready, and ready to the point where she was just ejaculating. And I think that's like, to me, that was a huge sign. When that first happened, I was like, oh, like something is right. Like, this feels so good. My pussy is responding. Like, she's saying, hell yeah. She's saying, I'm open, I'm ready, this is the right place. And also for that to be so pleasurable to me, because it is pleasurable to squirt. And I just, yeah, I think it's so interesting and funny to me because I didn't have to learn how. I didn't have to try. I just had to pay attention to my own body and love her. And she was ready. She wanted to. And yeah, like to this point where I could squirt any time that I wanted to squirt. Like, I can squirt any day that I want to squirt. Anytime that she just needs some love, and then she can squirt. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not hard to do. It's not something I have to try and make happen. In fact, I feel like when I like want to try are the times that she won't, because that's like, if you ever try and force anything out of her, I feel like that's when it doesn't happen, because it's like she can't be forced. She has to be loved and taken care of and open, and then she'll do the rest. Yeah, so that's been amazing for me. Like, I love squirting.
I love that. And you've talked about squirting like you've been practicing with your jade egg or
Hmm.
self-pleasuring or doing yoni
Hmm.
massage and
Hmm.
illicit squirting. So as you're saying, just the acts of showing love and being an enjoyment within your pussy
Yeah.
it's like almost her voice. Her voice is
Yeah.
liquids, her voice is squirting, her voice is gushing lubrication, and she just sings.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is like exactly like you said. Like, after using the jade egg, I've had it happen where like I've used the jade egg, and then I feel kind of the build for squirting, and then I like will touch the inside of my vagina for like 5 seconds, like just touch it, and she squirts. Like, it's not like I have to really even focus on it or build it. She's just ready. She's so ready from getting this love. And it is the like yoni massage and the care and the jade egg and all of that have been, I think, some of like the most important things for me and really life changing. And because I feel like my whole life, my pussy was just starved for love. And I think probably, 90% of women are, because I don't think 90% of women are doing like a weekly yoni massage. And I think that's what we need, whether that's, like my partner gives them to me mostly now, which is amazing. I love that he does that and loves to do that. And I think that's what we need. Like, I think we need a weekly yoni massage. I think that's what she deserves. How can we expect our pussy to be juicy and gushing and open and this receptive like place for all these things, for your partner, for energy, all of this, if we're not taking care of her? And I think we can't expect that from her if we're not taking care of her. It's obviously a no. So I think these care things like the yoni massage, and I did the yoni gazing too, and just giving her respect, giving her like I forgot how I thought of it like a few weeks into the salon was like she like wants her time in the spotlight. Like she's like been waiting, she's been shoved away, she's been hidden, she's been like, buttoned up in pants and then ignored. And she wants to shine. She wants to be open. She wants to blossom like the flower that she is and all these things. So yeah, that's I guess a message I got from my yoni during the course was she was like, give me my turn. She was like, it's my turn to be in the spotlight. It's my turn to have attention. It's my turn to like express myself. And she's right. Like I think they all of our yonis deserve that.
How much fluid were you emitting and what kind of measures were you required to take? Because this is often part of the narrative when people have prolific squirting experiences.
Right. So, I mean, so I've had times where I can squirt like where I've squirted multiple times back to back as well. And it's like, or I feel like she just needs to keep going until she's done. Where it's like when she starts squirting, I'll like help her and then she just like keeps squirting as I'm, like inside of her. She'll just keep squirting until she's done. And it's typically a lot. Like it's not just like when a male ejaculates and there's this like, blub that comes out. It's like it just keeps going. And it's like can be powerful too. Like I remember like one time my partner was like down below me and like I squirted and it's like shooting him in the arm and he's like, whoa, like what's happening? And yeah, so it's like it's like when you like put your thumb on a garden hose, and it just sprays. It's like that. And yeah, and I think it's so amazing. So I have figured out that I fold a towel 4 times and put that underneath me, and then that will stop it from getting through to the bed. Because like one measly layer, like obviously not if you dump a cup of liquid on it. But so I have to like fold this towel into like a like brick basically and put it under me to stop it from getting the bed. But
yeah, I'm really grateful for that. And I feel like a big part of that is from specifically working with the egg and like reawakening all those numb parts throughout my entire vagina.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So tell us, you mentioned that you ordered something special as a fitness equipment.
Yeah, so as part of my workout gear, during VKF, I ordered on Amazon ping pong balls, which came in the mail, and my partner works from home and I work out of home. So he's in charge of collecting all our packages and parcels and whatnot. And so he got this package for me that was delivered and opened it up, and inside was a package of ping pong balls. So I got home from work later that day, and he was like, "Oh, like something came in the mail for you. It's these ping pong balls." And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks. I'll take them." And he just gives me a funny look, and he's like, "Are these for your vagina? Are they?" And I was like, "Yes." In fact, they are for my vagina. Kim says that it's healthy for your vagina to be able to shoot ping pong balls. So I figured I would give it a go, which he thought was hilarious and also amazing, of course. And so I did. I have shot ping pong balls out of my vagina, which how could you not? Like hearing you mention shoot ping pong balls out of your vagina, I could not resist trying it. So yeah, so I have done that.
The way I talk about it is that it's the normal, healthy baseline for all
Hmm.
vaginas, right? It's not just some special skill that certain
Right.
women in certain bars in certain Asian countries can do, but it is a normal baseline. Every vagina can and ought to have a vaginal ping pong ball practice. So, what was that like? Have you gotten into targets and aiming, or you're simply like, I've done it, I can do it, this is amazing?
Mostly I was trying to just like get it down the bed
Yeah.
was my target point. Like start at the top of the bed and then try to get it down the bed. But setting up a different target is a good idea because then people could come over and you could have a target on your wall and they will think you're into darts or something. But then you can inform them that, oh, actually, this is for my vaginal fitness routine.
I
And
love it.
then
You could
they'll
have
either
like,
leave or they'll
yeah,
be your best friend.
yeah, you could have a little tray of ping pong balls and then the target
Yeah.
on the wall, and then, yeah, excellent conversation starter. And then that's your
Yeah, I
litmus
would say.
test. They're either like cool
Right.
and they can be your friend,
Yeah,
or yeah, I don't really need these people in my life.
exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. We should do that.
So, what about the art of vaginal hand jobs? How did that evolve
Hmm.
where your skill and articulation became so pronounced that you were
Hmm.
able to exact very particular pressure upon your partner?
Hmm. Yeah, I love that too, because that's another thing you teach in the salon. And um, it feels amazing for yourself to be able to move your vagina in that way. I find it super pleasurable to have control over the different ways that she's moving and like fitting around my partner, in addition to the fact that like my partner is obsessed with my vagina now. Obsessed. And um I love that, but I think it's because it feels so good. How could he not be obsessed? Like she's sleek and toned and fit and active and can move around and she's juicy and wet and all this stuff. And yeah, so he loves it. But as far as moving the different portions, I love that in the course as well of really practicing isolating the different parts of the vagina and also practicing that on my partner. Because what is it? Oh, what he always says now, we'll be having sex and I'll do a move, right? I'll do
You'll
a
do a
do a
kung
move,
fu
and
move.
then yes, and then he says he's like, ooh, some kung fu, like all the time. He's like, would just say that like during sex. He's like, ooh, like, are you doing kung fu?
He was saying that like it was like it's like 1,000 hands giving him a hand job or something at like the same time when I use my pussy on him. And I love being able to do that. It feels like a secret weapon, and I can see it in him too, where we'll be having sex and then I'll be like flexing my pussy or like squeezing different sections and whatnot, and I can see it in his face and in his noises and like everything. It just drives him crazy, and it's like usually then that he needs to take a break and like take some deep breaths because it makes him want to orgasm from just my pussy like tightening and releasing and touching his cock, which I love that. To me, that feels amazing to be able to do. And that also feels powerful and it feels healthy. Like our pussy is a muscle. And so I think a healthy pussy should be able to move. We should be able to control it, just like we should be with any other muscle on our body. So yeah, I think it's it's so positive and I love it. And my partner like just loves it. Almost a little too much, but
So, how do you notice the shift in yourself in your everyday life? Like pre
mm,
these shifts or pre these, like this evolution and now?
yeah. I would say I'm a better person. um I think that I interact with the world differently when I am well fucked and when I'm not. And I even notice it on a day-to-day basis. Like if if I am not A, like giving myself the love and attention I deserve, or B, not having like mind-blowing sex for a couple days or whatnot, I notice the difference. Like I am more irritable. My temper is shorter. All of these things that also were more common before. I feel like having mind-blowing sex and like getting fucked deep and hard enables me to show up as a kinder, more patient, more loving, more open person with the rest of the world. Um, and I feel like that benefits me in all aspects, like that benefits me in my job, in my relationship. And so I view these things as essential. I view them as things that I need to happen, because if they don't happen, then I'm not going to be my best self. And I'm not going to be the person I want to be, the best version I want to be. So I need to get fucked. Like I need to get fucked regularly, and it needs to be deeply satisfying. And I need to take care of my partner. I need to take care of myself. He needs to do the same. And I think it's essential. Like I said in the beginning, I think it's like, like food, air, and sex. Like I think it's one of our basic needs that helps us and me to show up in the world in a much better way. And I feel so much more feminine and like powerful as well. I feel, yeah, more power from my like feminine core, and core as a woman, which is like my pussy. So I feel that power in my life, more empowered to make decisions or to allow things in or to hold boundaries. Um, yeah, I would think all of that emanates and stems from these sexual practices.
If we have an hour and a half together in the day, we are having sex. Then that's now. Like that's not used to be. That's currently, that's now, that's 8 months pregnant with all these, plans for how we want things to be and choosing a more natural route and everything, because we view that as part of our preparation. He loves to quote you. So he even quotes some stuff that you've said about like how, what is it? He's always saying he's like, you need to deep throat to open up to prepare for birth and and things like that. So he loves to pull some one-liners from you. Maybe when I'm a little tired or something.
Like, but you'll find your voice. You'll the throat vagina connection. It's gonna help, babe. This is
Right.
training. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So we're still doing all of it. And I love that. I feel so lucky to have found your work and dove dove into it beforehand and continue to dive into it all throughout next year on my own and then with my partner as well, to be able to be in this place where our life is continuing on. We're having huge changes and huge transitions, but none of that's falling to the wayside. None of it's getting pushed aside. Like these things that are important to us, like having good sex with each other and having these elevated, intimate experiences, are remaining important. And we're treating them as priorities, even when we are busy, even when I'm 8 months pregnant and he's working full time and we're doing XYZ, we're still treating them as priorities because we recognize the importance, and we know that if we, skip the good sex for a week, like I can't even imagine that. That just sounds off. Like our life would not, I would not be okay. So yeah. So I love that we laid that foundation and then have continued it and still are continuing it and really putting in the time and the work.
You've mentioned a number of times how grateful you are for where you're at. And I just want to reiterate, because you have already, but I want to emphasize this point, is this is the direct result of all the work and the commitment that you have both put into this. And you've said that, right? You prioritize your sex life. If you have an extra hour, you don't just clean the house or run an errand or watch television. You're having sex. You're making use of that time. So, put in the effort, get the rewards.
And I spent like 2 months of this past year traveling, which I manifested this huge work trip. I was in Asia for 6 weeks, while pregnant. um, it's like a huge work trip, and I've been wanting to go to Asia for most of my life, but it always felt too far out of reach. And then I ended up manifesting this work trip where I got paid to go. And I worked like half of the time. So it was a vacation is what it really was. And that, has been huge for me. In addition to, like, I just feel like my life has become my dream life. The life that I would have always said I wanted, and the things I would have said I wanted, the lifestyle I would have said I wanted, or that I did say I wanted, has now become the reality, in that, like, I drive the car I wanted to drive. We live in a beautiful home in a city that we love living in. My partner is amazing. He's my dream husband. I am having a baby girl, and I've always wanted to have a baby girl. I have traveled to the countries that are on my bucket list, and so much more. And that's this year. That's only this year. So yeah, I feel like it's been a lot, and I feel like in so many ways I'm living my dream.
All right. I love it, Mara. Thank you so much for sharing with this. And sounds like you cultivated an epic super pussy.
Hope so.
Mara's experience of disconnection is extremely common. Most women feel numb, and they think that they don't even like sex that much, and who would when you can't even feel anything? Or worse, they're so cut off from these parts of themselves that they literally get their organs cut out of them. The tools that she used to unleash her super pussy are everything I teach in the Vaginal Kung Fu Salon. I show you how to perform a healing yoni massage to explore and connect with every millimeter of yourself. I lead you in progressive vaginal weightlifting routines with the jade yoni egg. We practice vaginal reconnaissance and yoni gazing in the quest to know thyself. I help you to clear your blockages, including past trauma and negative internalized beliefs, and of course, the technique for a vaginal hand job. All of this so that you can come into yourself as a voracious, empowered, sensual woman who is multi-orgasmic, squirts through the bed sheets, is wetter than a tsunami, and gives 1,000-hand vaginal hand jobs, and also happens to be able to shoot ping pong balls. All of this is up for grabs in the Vaginal Kung Fu Salon, my legendary online program on all things vagina and sexual wisdom is open for registration this month. If you are on the VKF list, you'll be notified as soon as we open registration. When you sign up for the list, you will also receive access to the free Vaginal Kung Fu training series, and you can start practicing your Kung Fu moves tonight. Go to kimanami.com, look for Sexual Savant Salons, and click on Vaginal Kung Fu. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe and also leave a review. And send someone else the gift of a healthy libido and an off-the-charts love life by sharing this episode with them. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, many happy orgasms.